We have the opportunity to do something truly game-changing. And following the months and months of school lockdowns, it's needed. We can unlock countless new educational options for students across our state. The Let Michigan Kids Learn initiative would give families more than $8,000 to help their kids access needed tutoring, technology, career education, mental health supports, or choose a school that better meets their needs. And that's $8,000 a year. Families like yours would be empowered to make the decisions on how to spend the money. You know your children best, and you should be allowed to make the best education decisions for them. All it takes is your signature on 2 petitions. If you haven't signed yet, or you need petitions, press 1 right now, and a packet will be mailed to you. I couldn't be more excited about this effort. It's exactly what parents and students need across Michigan. I also couldn't be more excited to introduce our very special guest this evening, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. While I was Education Secretary, I got a close-up look at just about every state's education options. And it's hard to think of a place that offers students better options than Florida. Florida has one of the nation's longest-running school choice programs, and the results are indisputable. Students' learning outcomes improve, and parents are more satisfied. With your signature on the Let Michigan Kids Learn petitions, we can bring some of that Florida success here to Michigan. Again, press 1 if you need petitions. Governor DeSantis has greatly expanded and improved Florida's student and parent-first approach to education. And tonight, he's going to share some of that success story, as well as answer some of the questions you've asked. So with that, let me turn the call over to one of America's best governors and my friend, Ron DeSantis. Governor, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate being here. And I'll just make some brief comments to start. So in Florida, we really take pride in the idea that every parent should have the ability to send their kid to get a quality education, and that should be true regardless of income level. And so right now we have the largest number of kids in our program than we've ever had in the history of the state. We have between 150 and 200,000 kids on various types of scholarship programs, as well as close to 400,000 kids in charter schools. And so we really are ground zero for school choice. What has ended up happening in Florida, as somebody that was born and raised in the state, our school system was typically rated probably in the bottom half of states in the United States. Since we've had meaningful choice and we've been able to expand those options, our performance has consistently increased, not just at the students of scholarships, but also in our traditional school districts. And so Education Week's most recent ranking, Florida's number 3 in the country for K-12 achievement. And I think one of the reasons that's happening is because you do have a lot of low-income families that are able to get their kid in a good school and a good environment for them. But I think our choice culture has also improved our school districts, because I think a lot of the school districts have had to become more innovative, making sure that they're able to be good options as well for students and families. And so it's good. I think choice is good in of itself to give people that ability, but the performance results really track in Florida in a very, very positive direction. So we're proud of what we've been able to accomplish. We think the results have been incredibly strong, and we're committed to continuing our efforts to make sure that every family in the state of Florida has the ability to get their kid a quality education, regardless of their zip code and regardless of their income.
Governor, Secretary, thank you. Let My Kids Learn Teletown Hall continues with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and former Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos. At the bottom line, we're talking about our kids here tonight, and you have the opportunity to personally help if you would like a Let My Kids Learn petition packet. Just press 1 on your phone's keypad. Right now, let's go over to Amy Hawkins with the Let My Kids Learn staff. Amy's been collecting some of the frequent questions she's hearing about Let My Kids Learn. And Amy, you have some of those questions for Governor DeSantis, don't you?
Yes, thank you so much. Governor, it is an honor for us in Michigan to be able to hear from you. Thank you for being with us. What advice do you give to the Michigan parents listening tonight that are looking for a better education for their children?
Well, I think I would just say it's definitely achievable. We're proof positive that you can actually enact meaningful reforms and provide opportunity for more and more people. And so I would say it's something that's worth fighting for, and it's something that can be done. There's a lot of people that said we couldn't do what we've done way back in the day when people were starting out 20 years ago. And then even when I became governor, we did the biggest expansion of school choice anywhere in the country. They always say you can't be done. There's going to be this roadblock or that roadblock. But you can do it. It takes work. I think most people in Michigan are probably similar to Florida. They just believe education's important, and they want to see everybody have an opportunity to make the most of their God-given talents.
Amen. Governor, how are you working to empower families even more in the face of liberal indoctrination policies?
Well, our mantra in Florida is Florida students have a right to an education, but they should not be subjected to indoctrination. And so what we do in things, whether it's our Parents' Rights in Education bill, which the media tried to demagogue, but basically making sure that these young kids are not having sexuality injected into the classroom curriculum, whether it's making sure that we have curriculum transparency so that every parent has the right to inspect the curriculum that's being used in their kids' schools, or whether it's we prohibit really harmful ideologies such as CRT. We've really been on the forefront of empowering parents, making sure that the schools are about education, and then giving the parents the ability to get meaningful relief against the school districts if the school districts are not following Florida state standards.
Governor, thank you. We're talking right now about education choices. We're talking about more opportunities. If you're just joining our Telethon Hall right now, Let My Kids Learn Telethon Hall, and you'd like a petition packet sent to you, just press 1 on your telephone keypad. Amy, do you have another question for the governor?
I do. I have one more for you, Governor. What advocacy do you suggest for parents who have seen their children become political pawns in an education system, all too focused on the adults?
Well, I think there's never been a better time to raise these issues with the general public, because what you saw over the last 2 years is millions and millions of students throughout the United States denied opportunity to even go to school in person at all. And that was almost entirely because of the power wielded by these entrenched special interest groups like the teachers union. And I think prior to COVID, most Americans didn't necessarily know that much about the unions and kind of what they did. I think if people would raise issues with teachers unions, I think some people thought you were actually attacking individual teachers, which in Florida, most of our teachers aren't even member of the union here. And so understanding that the parents should be in charge, understanding and making the case that a special interest who is perfectly willing to lock the kids out of school indefinitely, that they should not be in charge of our kids' education. I think that has more resonance today, not just with parents, but I think with the broader public, because we've got millions of people in Florida who don't have kids in school anymore. And I can tell you, they come up to me and thank me for having the kids in the school and beating the unions who sued me in court. So I think you've got a very sympathetic audience. And I think making the case for education reform and making sure that power is taken away from those who have proven that they cannot be trusted to wield it.
Well, you have been listening to our Let My Kids Learn Telethon Hall event with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Secretary of Education, former Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos. Amy, it looks like we're wrapping down toward the end of the event. That's the last of the questions, I believe, right?
Yes, that is. Thank you, Governor.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Secretary. Great to talk to you again. and good luck with everything up in Michigan.
Thanks so much, Governor. Really appreciate your joining us. Thanks, everyone, for joining the call.